Today, I wanted to speak about a solo trip I did in 2023 to New York City, where I thought pandemic has just ended. I feel like traveling. Finally, things are open. I've always wanted to go to America and New York City. This is the time to do it. And I found a great Kentucky group holiday to do it. And I thought, what could go wrong? This will be great. Turns out everything could go wrong. It was such a stressful time getting there and coming back. I missed my flight. I just barely caught another flight. I had to stay in a really dodgy hotel in Brooklyn for one night. I was sick that whole kind of first week of the trip. I think this was just all the stress of planning the trip. It was all really mixed bag of stuff getting there, and I felt really overwhelmed, but at the end of the day it was a really good trip, and I'd like to show you. Here's all my stuff. Jump scare me 3 years ago. My lovely parents driving me to OR Tambo Airport. Had a little burger while I waited. I think the flight was actually delayed, so this was paid for by British Airways. It only left at midnight or something. There's me all keen to get on the plane. Had a little break. You can see the tears in my eyes. I think this is I'd already gone to the UK and now on the way to the US. Looking very perplexed there. In high spirits apparently. Bear in mind I was sick this whole time. Famous Terminal 5, which I messed up with the Uber and went to Terminal 2 by mistake. Thought this was very cool mural. I think this was in the airport. So this was on the way to the super scary Brooklyn apartment I stayed in, and I slept for like 2 hours here because I was so paranoid. Next day, had a Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee and got this Yankees cap, which I absolutely love. This was the Chicago airport and my lovely aunt and uncle, and a bed, which I absolutely needed. This restaurant, Fatso's, amazing sandwich we had from there. I can't remember what they're called. Like a pulled beef, slow cooked sandwich. Amazing. Fatso's last stand. This was the Chicago Bulls stadium. It was obviously off season, so they weren't playing. But I didn't mind. I love basketball. This was along the shore on the way to playing golf at a range. I'm obviously terrible, as you'll see here, but they did have left-handed clubs for me, which was cool. This is the cat where I was staying. First night of the Kentucky, and meeting everyone for the first time at the top floor. This was the boat cruise we went on, which was so cool. There's a little itinerary if you want to pause and see what we did. All in all, wandering around town. These cool, I think they're called the Corn or something, these buildings. Interesting history, all of those buildings, kind of the first to be the tallest, the first to be made of steel. Famous Chicago sign, part of the L train infrastructure. And this is called the Tiffany Dome at the Chicago Cultural Center. And there was some very funny artworks that the kids had done, like this Mike Kachowski. This is the Millennium Park and the Bean, which I really liked. Other people think it's silly, but I really liked it. They have to polish this once a month or something crazy to get it having this sheen, get rid of all the handprints. This is this very funny mural at Millennium Park. It had like a video. This was way too many nachos I ordered. More boat cruise reflections. And a little bike ride around part of the city. You can kind of see the coastline and the lake there. This was the rate field to watch the White Sox. Pretty boring game, but it was cool to go. Food was nice. This was amazing. Hot dog with absolutely everything on it. Only one exciting thing was there was one home run right at the end of the game. This is back to Rate Field and the crew of the Kentucky. This is the, I think it's the Natural History Museum of Chicago. I always love these museums. More of the museums, the biggest, most complete T-Rex model in the US. And this was Lincoln Park, I believe, for a deep dish pizza. And some comedy, the comedy club. Me in good spirits on the bus. Skyline of, must be Chicago. So this was the Catskills, near Hunter, New York, I believe it's called. This is where we were staying. Lovely lodge. And having a little bonfire there. It was really beautiful. Apparently not that many people come here anymore. If you're from New York or kind of the northeast, but I thought it was great. Again, me, I loved those plain t-shirts back in the day. This was really fun. So this was the Rail Explorers rail bikes, which we got to pedal through the old abandoned rail tracks. This was in Phoenicia, New York. There's us zooming along. And doing some canoeing. I believe I'm the one at the back. It's all of us again. Some of these aren't super in order. So this is in Boston now. That was the Faneuil Hall Marketplace. Sorry if I butchered that. This was by the shore, and the Kenmore Square flower wall. I thought this was the funniest picture ever for a while. This was a darts bar called Flight Club that we only got access to actually play the darts at like midnight or something. But it was still fun. Next morning, Harvard University tour. I really liked this. This is one of the reasons I wanted to come on this trip at all. It was a bit short, but still fun. This is the North End, or Nesto's Pizza, and the Paul Revere Mall, and the famous Acorn Street, apparently most photographed street in Boston. And then the last part was New York. I mean, this was the reason I came in the first place. Probably got the most photos and videos on this part. It's Empire State. Love to see it. This was Supreme in Bowery, which is Lower Manhattan. Obviously bought something. Super fun for me. We were staying in Times Square in the garment district. This is my little view, which I absolutely loved. Cool chandelier in the atrium. More walking around. This was lovely taco place we went to. And obviously Statue of Liberty. Taco place was in Chelsea Market. And this was the 9/11 memorial, which was really beautiful. And obviously sad. Very cool underground building. One of the fire trucks there that got burnt. This was Brooklyn Bridge Park, and obviously Brooklyn Bridge. We went to a little restaurant up there for an evening meal.
Hey, check this out. It's a dog.
This was this cool art display that was
Now it's a bird.
in there that we played around with for way too long.
That is too cool.
Kind of want one of these. There's me not really getting how it works. Yeah, so this was more of kind of Central Park, Midtown. Sorry, not Central Park, Times Square, Midtown area is Times Square. This was kind of the time that Harry Potter Cursed Child was showing. So we did see that later in the video. This is a little bar we went to, which was very fun. I normally don't like this stuff, but that was cool. This was one of the subway stations, just loved that mosaic art. Brooklyn Bridge, really cool. You can walk over the top of this. And the history of all these bridges is fascinating, connecting all the boroughs of New York. And they're all so well used today. People really appreciate them over there. That was Dumbo area and Manhattan Bridge. This is Grand Central Terminal, and then there's Bryant Park, and I believe that was the Central Library. Again, Times Square. Some of our people on the Kentucky got interviewed by Fox News. This was the One World Trade Center. So we got to go all the way to the top. It's really cool views. This is the show we were gonna see, the Cursed Child. It was cool. I did fall asleep though, watching that. Here's some of our later days. Crazy skinny pencil skyscraper. This is Central Park. I was the only one on the left who didn't understand the hands we had to do there, but that's okay. And this was kind of the last evening we had, Empire State Building there. This was part of our hotel. Made good memories. Funny mirror. And this was the top of the Empire State Building. The coolest view that I went on. So many lights. I had to wear my Supreme, obviously. Final night karaoke. I don't really care for karaoke, but this guy loved it, as you can see. And here was my like £40 meal at the JFK airport, and finally seeing some South Africans and hearing their accents made me feel so much better and happy to be back home. So, as you can see, it was a lovely trip to the USA. I particularly enjoyed New York, as I've always seen movies and stories and Instagram posts about it, and it was everything I could have dreamed of. Where we stayed was lovely, Statue of Liberty was lovely, Central Park, the Empire State Building. It was all really wonderful, and I'd definitely love to go again. Seeing my aunt for the first time in like 15 years was really special, and her lovely husband. I also found Boston really intriguing and I think the most like European American city. Chicago was also wonderful. I don't know if I would have gone to those two places if it wasn't for my aunt and the fact that it was on the Kentucky, but I'm really glad I did go to those. Really glad I went when I did, now that all the crazy stuff is happening in the USA at the moment. So that wraps up my story. I hope you enjoyed and see you in the next one. Cheers.